Nikki here. I'm here today to do my spoiler review for my book of the month, Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This is a beautiful edition, however it does not include the back half or the good, also known as the Good Wives. So that kind of sucked. I had to track down another copy so I could read the back half. This is an American classic. It follows a family, specifically the 4 daughters of this family, and kind of their lives while their father is away at war when he comes back, and just the general kind of adventure of growing up as a young girl in the 1860s in Boston. 12-year-old Nikki absolutely adored this book. Adult Nikki, not so much. I didn't dislike it. It just was not the 5 out of 5 that I would have given it when I was 12. Biggest thing here is that the 4 daughters are very different people, and moving forward that becomes a lot more obvious, and I like what that added to the story. So with that, I will move into my likes. I have 3 of them, the first of which is the variety of characters. I mentioned this also in my spoiler free, but I like how everybody is so different. It gives everybody a little something to latch onto, which is awesome. And I think that's part of why it appeals to such a broad audience. My second like is a specific character, Marmee March, the mum. While I wasn't necessarily in line with a lot of the religious beliefs that were being put forth in this book, I did love the way she parented. She led by example wherever possible, but she also wasn't afraid to let her daughters grow on their own and make mistakes, provided they weren't mistakes that would put their lives in danger in any capacity. And just the relationship and the love that she felt for her children, I think, came through very well in the actions that she did during the book. And I just overall really, really enjoyed her character. And my third positive is that the pacing was good. While the book is long, and I know some people say it's boring, I personally didn't find that it dragged too much. Anytime I was afraid it would drag, they ended up doing a small time jump or a perspective jump, and that restarted the pacing back where I wanted it to be. So I think Louisa May Alcott did a really good job with that. And then I'm gonna go to my negatives. And the first negative is that this book was preachy. And it was even preachy outside of a lot of the religious overtones, and that I think really had to do with the fact it was written in the 1860s when women's lib was not really a thing yet, and if it was not mainstream. And so there are some very antiquated ideas put forth here. However, just because I understand where it's from doesn't mean I have to like it, and I don't particularly care for it. My second negative is that another character, actually, and it's Amy. I don't care for Amy. I try to look at it, and as an adult, I don't care for her character any more than I did when I was a kid. And it has nothing to do with the fact that she ended up with Laurie. Like, it is what it is. They both deserve better, probably, but I'm not the one who's writing that, so I'm not going to comment on that specific relationship. But what I didn't care for was, I guess her pride was my biggest issue, because it got in the way of a lot of things within her family, within her sisters. Although everything always kind of turned out rosy, I always was a little sad that the repercussions for Amy's behavior wasn't more, like, there wasn't more consequence to a lot of her actions. But c'est la vie. And then my final negative is the ending. Although it was happy and I was really excited to see that everybody kind of had their stories tied up in a nice little bow, I didn't care for how the second half was written, because it wasn't written in the same style as the first. The back half really felt like a long "where are they now" segment, as opposed to additional growth for the characters. And I guess the argument could be made, well, they're adults in the back half where they aren't in the front, but just the difference there really pulled me out of my enjoyment of the second half. With that, I will jump into characters. So with the characters, I did like that there was a variety of them. I even liked that the variety allowed me to not like some of them and love others, and that rereading it has kind of changed my perspective, and I do enjoy the differences in all the characters. While they are dynamic because they are growing up, I wish they were a little bit more dynamic and that some of their relationships were more in-depth or got more in-depth looks. But you can't do everything, and the book was long enough as it is. So that's all I really have to say about the characters in the book. I'm going to jump into my wrap-up, and hopefully that'll be nice and short and sweet, although my rambling does not let me do that regularly, and then I'll let you go. So if you'd asked 12-year-old Nikki, this book would have been a 5 out of 5. But you're talking to adult 28-year-old Nikki, and what do I think of the book? It's good. It's not, in my opinion, it's not a bad book. I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5, which for me is better than your average book. However, this isn't a book I would necessarily recommend to a lot of people either, because you have to have very specific tastes to enjoy this. I, in particular, do really enjoy classics, especially with female leads, which is why I had picked this up initially. But the kind of more religious overtones, the moral of most of the chapters, the way that some of the characters were portrayed didn't really got to me. And overall, I can't get behind as many of the antiquated ideas as others maybe can. Although I can try to overlook them, I still don't really enjoy that they're there. But neither do I deny that all of the girls in this book seemed to be happy with their choices. And that's really all I got for you. I will see you in the next video. Bye.